Jen here with week 5 of the Christmas card lift series that Daisy and I do. We have our special guest Christy joining us this week, and she picked this stunning card from Jennifer Smith. I love how simple and elegant it is. I really think that this is the kind of card that works well for maybe people that you don't know very well, maybe business related, or you know, just those people who may not want that really cute kind of Christmassy fun cutesy card, which we love making those, obviously, but sometimes you just need that card that's a little bit more mature and sophisticated, and I think this one is perfect for that. I also think that this general design is so versatile. So you could make any kind of card with this, a really beautiful wedding card or a birthday card or even a sympathy card, Mother's Day cards, all those kinds of things. So I absolutely adored this design, and it's going to be one that kind of takes a permanent place in my repertoire of go-to designs, I think, because I had so much fun. And you'll see here, I come up with 4 cards. 2 of them are a little bit similar and 2 of them are completely different, and it was just a lot of fun to do. So at the beginning of the video, I had pulled out a whole bunch of different embellishments. There were chipboard and stickers and wood veneer and all kinds of things, because I don't have a poinsettia punch or a poinsettia stamp or anything like that. I thought maybe if I went through my Christmas stash, I might actually find like a pre-made poinsettia that I had bought somewhere, or some flowers of some kind. You could totally use, if you have fabric flowers or any kind of like rosettes or anything like that, those would work perfect for here if you don't have a poinsettia. But I was just looking for something else I could use since I didn't have one. Or if you do have a punch, go for it. Use your punch. Pick a cut file. I just didn't have the time to go through the Silhouette store and find a poinsettia cut file and then cut it all out. So I went with what I had in my stash, and a lot of what I have, you can see, is the very classic Christmassy stuff. So the first card I'm making is kind of more of that very classic Christmas colors. The paper that I'm using is from a 6x6 pad that I got in a fun little sock exchange that me and a bunch of ladies did. So I'm not too sure where Deanna got the paper pad from, but I think it was probably from Dollar Tree or something like that. And it just had that really fun Christmas countdown paper with all the numbers and the classic red, white, and green. And so I thought that this would be a good starting off point for me to really kind of start playing around with the design. So I put down the full 6x6 piece of paper. Obviously my card base, you can see, is actually a 5x7, so I had to cut that paper down a little bit width-wise, and it doesn't quite reach height-wise, so I will cut off that top when the card is done. And then I used some glitter tape that I had. I just cut that in half because I didn't want such a wide piece of tape. And I used those cute little, I think they're like 99 cents or something like that, those cute little rolls of ribbon that you get at Michael's. I got those in one of their $2 gift bags, and so I just have a whole bunch of them. So I pulled a few of them out that I thought might work, and I really like that little candy cane one. And I think those candy canes are just so cute and kind of play up on that classic Christmas theme. So when I was putting this together, what I found kind of worked well for me is I took that 6x6 paper and I only glued it down on that far left hand edge, and that allowed me to put my ribbon down and then make my cut through the center, or just slightly off of the center, because in the original card you can see that her horizontal cut is just a little bit lower than that midline, so I wanted to do that same thing as well. So I made my cut all the way to where the ribbon is, and then I just folded back those two edges. And for me, this paper, the 6x6 pad, is white on the other side, and I chose to leave it white because I felt like the green is so bold and intense, and so the white really helps to lighten things up a little bit. But my card base was cream, and so I wanted something to cover up the open space where my sentiment is going to go, and just kind of tone down that cream a little bit. So you saw me auditioning a couple different papers. I did really like that burlap paper, but I found maybe it was a little bit too dark, and I kind of liked the white of this card. So I just went with a piece of vellum, and that centerpiece is darker than the white everywhere else, but it's toned down a bit, and I like it. I think it worked out really good, and I think it kind of matches the wood veneer that I'm using as my focal point. So, because that has a little bit of that kind of yellow tint to it, and you saw I just took my dauber, and I went around the edges of the white with the red dauber, and then with just the little bit of color that was left on the dauber, I put some red on that wood veneer, and I think it just turned out so cute. And so I don't mind that the colors are just a little bit off in that open space. If you don't like that though, you could always just put a plain piece of white paper there or some pattern paper, whatever you want to do to fill in that space. For me, I just felt like any of the papers that I was gravitating towards were too dark for the sentiment. But of course, you could put a darker piece of paper there and then stamp your sentiment on a separate piece of paper and fussy cut it out. That would also work. So now for my second card, I really wanted to play with a paper that had a pattern on the other side. So this is from the Simple Stories collection from a few years ago, and it's a 6x8 paper, so it fits the full size of the card base, and I just had to cut it down a little bit, and I really liked that it was cream, so now I don't have to worry about that open space on the card. And so to play off of this sort of natural feel of it, I decided to use some burlap ribbon instead of glitter here. This ends up being my favorite card of these 4 cards. I just love, love, love how much this turned out, and I would like to do a whole bunch more of these. So in my little 31 pouch that you see right beside me with the owls on it, I store all of my little bits and pieces of ribbon that I get throughout Christmas. You know how sometimes you get ribbon around a blanket or on a package, on like a gift bag and that kind of stuff? I take all of that and I just pop it into that bag, and it works really great when you're in a pinch for just a touch of ribbon somewhere, or if you need to tie up a bag or put some ribbon on an ornament to hang it on a tree or whatever. So that pouch is full of Christmassy fun ribbon, and I found that little bit of lace ribbon, which is just like in the original card, so I pulled that out. I'm sad that I only had that little bit. I don't know where it came from. It's absolutely gorgeous, so I'm gonna have to look for some more of it. But it just, between the burlap and that lace ribbon, this card just is so cozy, and I don't know, I love the natural colors. I love how warm it is. Is that the right word I'm looking for? It's just warm, and it's a totally different color scheme for me. So I picked that wood veneer laser cut star, and I think I got that last year at Dollar Tree, and there were only, I think, 4 of them in the pack, so I've kind of been a little bit stingy about using them. But doesn't that look amazing? I'm so glad I used that. I don't know who's gonna get that card. I might almost keep it for myself because I love it so much. But yeah, I was pretty happy with the way that one turned out. And so now I really did just want to have a poinsettia. And so here's what I decided to do. I had that strip of red glitter tape that I cut from my very first card, and I thought I can cut some petals out of this and just piece together my own poinsettia. So I did it off camera with that card that you see up in the top corner, just because if it was going to turn into a hot mess, I wanted to, find a different way of doing it. It ended up working out really cute, so I kept it in here, and now I'm making another one. But while I was doing it, I had this thought. So here's my little doodle. If you have a bow punch, or even a bow die, or a cut file to cut out bows. I mean, if you're going to go into Silhouette Studio or Cricut or anything like that and pull out a bow cut file, you probably would have the time to just go and find a poinsettia cut file. But, if it's there, you've paid for it and you want to use it, you could always take just the main shape of the bow, the one that does the loops, and those are basically petal shaped. So just like I drew, you could punch or cut or stamp or whatever you want to do, a whole bunch of that shape, and then just cut off the little pieces that hold the bow together. So I think that would work well if you have one of those, and save you some time from fussy cutting all of these little shapes out. Because in the first card I did 10 pieces, so my poinsettia only has 2 layers, but then in this card I really wanted to do the 3 layers, just like in the original that Jennifer did. So this one has 3 layers, so that's 15 little petals and then 2 leaves. My leaves are different from Jennifer's because she probably did have some sort of die cut machine or something like that to cut hers out. And honestly, poinsettia petals and leaves are the same thing. So I just cut the same shape. There you saw me use a little bit of ink just to kind of go around the edges and darken them up a little bit so they stood out on top of that green paper. And that's it. Those are my cards. So here are the 2 poinsettia cards I made. The first one, you can see I used some gold tape and then some red ribbon. The second one, I used some gold tape and then that little piece of burlap that was left over. And voila, my cards are done. I had so much fun making these. Thank you, Christy, for a gorgeous design, and thank you for joining us. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Christy's links are down below. Daisie's links are down below. If you have any questions, you can leave them for me in the comments. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.